Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Reviews, where today we have ourselves a track from an act named OC Hazel titled The Traveler. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves a track on the screen here, the art in the center, and we're going to listen through it from start till finish. We're going to hear what we think. Let's go. Damn, the funkiness of those guitars, right? I should also, sorry to interrupt, I should also note that I'm going to be scoring this on from 1 to 10 on different areas. I'll show that in the post, but just so we're aware before going further, it's doing very well so far.
I was born with no friend of mine. Came up and left my town to follow a guiding light. I've been traveling day and night. I've been traveling left and right. I was lost, seen a stranger blind. He's the one who showed me vision and gave me peace of mind. I've been traveling, nowhere fast. I've been traveling without last. Round I go, to and fro. Every place I go, I see friend and foe.
It just continues.
All the way down.
I mean, it's just stunning. There is so much variety and diversity within the composition. It's enthralling. I am genuinely enjoying my time with it. And it's a short, at 3 minutes 55. They could probably have had a much longer track if this was the effort they were putting into the different sort of guitar riffs, different sort of like going between different grooves, like normal half and double and stuff like that. They're so explorative, and the vocal style is so approachable, and I'm really happy with it.
I was moved by the winds of change. I saw the seas unraveling, everyone living in vain. I've been traveling, need some rest. I've been traveling, east to west. I was found in the underground, got held back on my feet, came back around town. I've been traveling, seen every face.
Is there like, sorry to interrupt, is there like a walking bass line underneath that? There is just so much cool stuff if you listen closely, man. I'm sorry,
Place to place. Round I go, to and fro. Every place I go, I see friend and foe.
great choice for a solo section here.
Round I go, to and fro. Every place I go, I see friend and foe.
Was that the track? No way that's the track. That felt short. I don't know if you're aware how often it is that I feel like a track is too short. It's excruciatingly rare. Often you'll have a theme that is overrepresented and kind of continued to a point where it's potentially exacerbated. But this was a really slick track. I'm going to have a quick listen through one of the verses just to get more of a gauge of what it's about, because I feel a little bit out of the loop because I was kind of taken aback by everything else. But we're going to talk about this track with a conclusion and sort of provide an overall score for it as well. Because welcome to my review of this track from an act named OC Hazel titled The Traveler. Now, I gave this song an overall score of 8.2 out of 10, which is very high for me. I don't give out many 8s. A lot of stuff that I get through is produced and recorded and performed to the point where it's good, right? But there were some parts of this song that were truly special to me, and I really appreciate the effort put in by OC Hazel and everyone else involved to make it that way. So after listening through this track and kind of getting more of a feel of it, because, what is this song about? I've been getting the impression that this is, it's not just about a traveler or someone traveling. It's because they've been traveling to either find a purpose, or they've been told by someone like a stranger, or like someone to they've been given peace of mind, or like a way to kind of cope with their situation, and they're exploring to find their place where they can have that peace. And they've gone left and right, seen friend and foe everywhere, and you get the impression that this is someone trying to find meaning in their life, or trying to find a reason to keep going, and they're not sure if they're going to last. And I think these are lyrics that are open-ended enough that most people will be able to sort of relate to them. But it's also specific enough that it's kind of unique. I haven't heard many songs talking about a journey that they're going on in this kind of way, and I really appreciate that. I think that's really dope. The vocals from the singer remind me of so much of music from the 60s and 70s and stuff like that, kind of rock music era there. And there's a sense of nostalgia that I feel that is mismatched because I was not around then, right? But I nonetheless appreciate the effort put in by the singer, the vocalist, to not only sing well with proper vocal technique in a way that is very compatible with the rest of the instruments within the arrangement, but in a way that is very accessible and approachable, describes his story well, is earnest and honest and authentic, and also simultaneously makes you want to hear more, because there's not a whole lot of range dynamically to the vocal performance. It's kind of bluesy, rocky sort of approach there. Maybe this is a potential bias on my part, even though I like lots of different vocal styles. It was quite there was a nice sort of texture and tone to the voice where you could easily listen to it, and there was enough going on with the accompaniment to keep it intriguing throughout. And as the song, it wasn't just about the singer either. I think part of why this track was so cool is that it wasn't just about, hey, this person is telling a story, only listen to that. There was so much cool stuff going on what I assume was a mixture of different guitar, bass, drums, and organs that you were left kind of longing for more right up until the end. So again, solid vocal technique. We sung in a way that was very sort of believable. The story was captivating. We move on to the track itself at 3 minutes 55, which was really elegantly structured. Part of what I appreciated about it is that we had repeats of certain lines there and added bars at the end of stuff where it wasn't formulaic in groups of 4 or 8 bar totals, if that makes sense. It was unpredictable the amount you had of a piece there. The song tried to cater to the needs of the singer repeating lines and stuff like that. By doing that, it showed an innate chemistry between the singer and the different instrumentalists involved. And ultimately, it was great. It was like you were listening to a live performance there. It was like people were really in tune with what was required in order to make a great song there. That lack of predictability made it interesting, but it was also that the parts you got alongside that were just intriguing. You had lots of it wasn't just that we were playing chords and strumming parts. We had lots of really fancy stuff going on with the guitars, lots of little hammer-on pull-offs there, slidey bits, bends and stuff like that. The solo section with a bit extra fuzz and kind of pizzazz to it was shimmery and shiny, but it was also had a bit of kind of a sleek kind of edginess to it that pervaded throughout the track. We had a great presence when it came in. The lead solo really cleanly took over what was going on with the singer, but then the singer wasn't all the time either, so basically you just provided with another voice to listen to without it seeming like you were transferring for the sake of having a bit of variety. There was enough change compositionally within this piece to not need that anyways, but you know what I mean. The guitars were well played. There are lots of variety of different guitarists, 3 to 4 different sections with different chord progressions and bass lines and stuff like that, pauses as well as sort of velcros of varying intensities dynamically there, which was tight. And I think that whilst the guitar was one of the highlights, it's also talking about the drums. The drums had a fantastic sort of sense of self-awareness to them. They pocketed to an extent, but they also had enough room to be able to do sort of lots of different sort of like kick and sort of snare patterns there, as well as working with the crashes. And there were some interesting tom fills and tails at the end of each section as well. The transfers were tight. We played in time, and we were very sort of like competent in that regard. But we also knew when to slow down, go halftime, just allow space for sort of like halftime hits and such. Then we picked things back up in a way that made sense with the vocals and the guitar. The bass line there, I know I interrupted. I apologize for interrupting. I know it annoys some people, but I've just got to talk about stuff when it happens quickly, mind you, just in case I forget it, right? That bass line where it kind of walked and had a lot of movement walking towards those scales and mode shapes were just wonderful. I appreciated the way we approached that, primarily because it was very, very cool. I know that's kind of basic, but it's just, we could have just gone with the root notes of those chords, but to go dum 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 like that, if I'm not mistaken, it was just fun. And I think that part of what's cool about this is that we understood we had space to do that. We weren't sort of suffocated by the needs of the guitar and drums and vocals in the mix. We allowed ourselves to come up and to call a response almost to what the vocalist was doing, and it was tight. Every singer, every performer had their time in the spotlight, and it was cool. I think it was like a bit of vibrato or something like that going on with the keys in the background there, or to a nice mid-range sort of like additional layer in the arrangement. They weren't sort of like super they weren't super present, but I think there were some keys or an organ there with a bit of vibrato, wow, wow, that kind of stuff. And it was great. I liked the fact that it was there. It was an interesting sound to have in amongst everything else. I think that it just was the icing on the cake, really. And I think when you combine everything with this bluesy sort of like rockish kind of piece that, again, is reminiscent of a lot of sort of like the kind of classic rock from the 70s and stuff like that, you have a piece of music where they've clearly put a lot of love into it, a lot of attention to detail. The actual technical performance of the piece was difficult, and they pulled it off really, really sweetly, and it was great. There was a lot of variety again within the different sort of chord progressions and motifs within it. The overall sound of it was someone with maybe struggling with the journey they were going on, but trying to sort of communicate that to you regardless, in a way that was earnest and honest, and they were just trying to tell you a story first and foremost, and they were making sure that their instruments were interesting enough to listen to alongside it. And it had a great sense of pace to it, where like the person was on a journey still moving. And the dominant seventh chords, majors and minors, as well as the pentatonic bluesy phrasings there suited the genre well. And ultimately it was very satisfying. I got the feeling that it was someone not entirely sure how the journey was going to end, but they were still going to continue regardless. And I think that makes sense with the lyrics and the vocals. The studio recording, mixing, and mastering as well scored highly. I'm really pleased with how that was handled. I think that it was wonderful. It was professional. It was studio grade, man. Like, it's one of the best recordings I've heard in quite a while. I think that the vocals had a great presence in the mix. Initially, I was like, are they a little bit quiet? But I think that simply they're trying to sort of make it so it's more tight with the mix there. The guitar, bass, drums, organs, etc., or the keys were nicely niched together, both in the frequency spectrum and in the stereo field there. There was dynamic range to the piece as well. Things weren't the same loudness all the time, which I appreciate. And it was nice line with that pumping to the bus compression and limiting was handled. The vocals were not overproduced either. They had a great presence in the mix without being kind of like too overdone. It sounded like a live performance. And I think in this kind of music, it's really important to kind of have that feel for it. If it sounds overproduced, it might sound a bit less kind of real, if that makes sense. It's all about how you interact with the listener on that level, on that one sort of dynamic, and they smashed it. So thank you very much for watching my review of this track from an act named O.C. Hazel, titled The Traveler. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please go show them some love via the various social medias and YouTube page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as either help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I will catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.